Greetings, community. It's Kevin of Adventure Being Comics, and I'm here, well, to show you my pre-order has arrived and talk a little bit about each item that I purchased and why I did. Some of the synopsis about each story and, so forth. Let's kind of jump right into it. All right, so this is what I'm starting off with. Strange Academy number 18. I'd like to thank Mike for being here. Starting it off with him right at the top of the show. That's why I highlighted him before I even came on. Appreciate you, Mike. Strange Academy 18 finishes out the semester, finishes out this portion of the series. From my understanding, they're going to start with a brand new number 1. The impression I'm getting from at the end of the book, when you read this issue, kind of got a few. You'll see towards the end of the back pages, there's a little statement made by the team who wrote, drew, colored, and so forth with the book. Making a statement again that they will be back. Now, if that means in their full entirety, I don't know. That's the impression I'm getting. I really hope so. This is something that Ramos has been doing on a regular basis, unlike anything I've ever personally seen in a long time. And it's been a great meld between the two creative teams. What I really mean by that statement is both Young and Ramos have been working so well on this, and it seems like they've been able to convey what each other are looking for in the story, both in its creative form, writing, and in its depiction as far as the art and the color and everything else is concerned. Loving everything about it. Can't go on enough, but I will move on. Playthings, issue number 2. This is a story by Black Caravan. Black Caravan is kind of an offshoot, I believe, of Scout. At this point, I'm kind of getting the impression they're more horror-based than anything else that they put out. I have not seen anything else other than that. I'm enjoying everything that they're doing pretty much. I'm buying everything Black Caravan now. It really seems like there's nothing that they could do wrong. Moving on, Spawn, issue number 1. Other than artists, I'm the only person that buys as many blank covers as I do. I don't know anybody that buys as many. That being stated, I like having them. They're just kind of cool out. I will run into artists and creators at times that will, do some work, but yeah, it's a lot of money to get that stuff done. Nocterra, issue 11. This is an ongoing series that I'm loving to no end. This thing is written by Scott Snyder, and the art by Daniel is really, again, depicting the storyline. It's a story of the world being plunged into darkness by scientific means. That also tying into the major part of the story of we're hoping that science can kind of bring the sun back. So that's what we're seeing as a fairy person is tasked to go ahead and deliver this information to hopefully a group of individuals that can go ahead and make this happen. So it's a post-apocalyptic world in a very dark one that turns everything very ugly. And I'm loving it. Robin, issue number 15. I was never really a huge Batman Robin fan. Reading individual titles, I think works better for me. That also makes being stated when I'm finding this Robin story is really to my liking, and I've enjoyed it all the way through. And so, yeah, I was looking for a place to jump off, and then it just keep hooking me in there. So I'm really loving that Robin tale. Speaking of great stories, 7 Secrets, a story by Tom Taylor. It's a story of, well, kind of just that. 7 secrets that are being protected by individuals that I don't know why people were really kind of after him initially, but now that they're opening all these secrets and all this stuff is happening, I don't know what they're trying to make happen as much as there's a lot of suffering, a lot of death. At the same point, there's a lot of supernatural activity that seems that wouldn't be happening unless these horrific aspects were. So it's an interesting story on what's developing in the evolution of this, well, opening of all these secrets. And it's yeah, yeesh. It's a great story. It's ugly in the sense of, you know, when things happen, it's never good. It's never pretty, but it's fun to read. We Live, Age of Deans. I think that's how you pronounce it. This story, We Live, started out as more of a story of salvation, trying to grab a group of individuals, a small few. If I recall, it was like only 5,000 kids that were being chosen to be flown off into another portion of wherever, not this star system. And it's now turned into like a supernatural story, like superheroes and stuff. I don't know. It like Space Knights. I don't know. It's wild and it hit a hard turn. Trying to get used to it. I'm still liking it, but it was nothing from the origins of what it started from in the first volume. All right, Joker number 15. Now this is one I am looking forward to finishing out. It started as to me, a fun story in the first 3, 4, 5 issues, and then it kind of lulled, and then it jumped back up there around 8, 9, 10, something like that, and then kind of lulled out and then picked up again. So I've been on this roller coaster ride with the Joker. I'm looking to get off. I was told issue number 17 is it, so I'm looking forward to 17 coming and going. It's been an okay story though, don't get me wrong. I'm hoping it has a better ending than it has the ride. Silver Surfer issue number 5. Now this is 5 of 5. This finishes out the story. I've been really enjoying all these Silver Surfer mini stories that they've been coming out in the past, I don't know, what, 3 years, 4 years now? They have, to me, significant ramifications in the Marvel Universe. It restructures aspects, just like Silver Surfer Black did, and the origins of the Marvel Universe. And it's just telling some pretty cool stories. I guess I'm a huge Surfer fan. I realized I was that big of a fan. All right, now I'm going to start off by saying that I am really loving a lot of crossovers right now. Mad Balls versus Garbage Pail Kids is one that I'm looking forward to for a little while. It brings me back to the 80s. To me, this is a great cliche of some of the things that we grew up on as kids in the 80s. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this is portrayed. Dynamite, you're actually winning my heart with storylines like this, these crossovers, and along with Draculina. I've never thought of myself as being a Dynamite fan, Dynamite reader, Dynamite purchaser. I am slowly converting. I never delved that far into the universe of Dynamite, so here I am. Hellcop, issue 8. Now, Hellcop is a very unique story to me. It's a story of a guy protecting us from possible intruders from other dimensions. Now, some of these intruders kind of look like demons that we have stereotypically portrayed, but they're actually just individuals that look like what we think of or what we've seen come into our own reality from other dimensions. And then we just, because we have no explanation, deem them as. So Hellcop kind of protects this dimension from otherworldly dimension intruders. And in that, it is just a funny, fun tale of an individual that is definitely the right choice, but the wrong choice all wrapped into one. Great story. Talked about Joker already. I'm A and B'ing it all the way through. There was a couple of issues that I didn't get to B, so I'm looking forward to getting that. All right, moving over to loving this. Silver Coin, issue 11, and Silver Coin, issue 12. I do monthly pre-orders, and the way it works out sometimes is I may get as many as 2 books in one order. So if I'm behind in reading, I'm behind in reading. It's worth it. Getting back to Silver Coin. Silver Coin is kind of a monkey paw style story where the coin is cursed, usually by giving you what you want. So it's one of those be careful what you wish for style. And its ramifications and suffering is just ongoing to the point that it usually is the cost is usually your soul in a mortal form. Then who knows after. So yeah, I'm loving Silver Coin, and what's been very unique about it, it's been giving you a back history story every 5 issues. So issue 5, 10, we'll see what happens in issue 15. Moving on to Iron Cant, issue number 1. This is a story that takes off from what transpires in Black Cat issue 11 and 12, where she goes, meaning Black Cat, goes and steals Iron Man's armor for her own needs. She's trying to obtain gems, which is Infinity, which is a side story of its own. Another individual that is looking to do Black Cat a little harm steals the suit for revenge. And it's an interesting story where Tony and Black Cat have to get together, go ahead and defeat this individual. I've always started kind of reading some of the pages and then I stopped because it wasn't in my reading order. I was cheating. Sorry. So I'm looking forward to jumping into that. I am a Black Cat fan, so I'm dying to get into it. Moving over to the King Spot, Bonnier the Aromatic. Now this is a story of a girl named Bonnie. Her BO is so bad that it's her weapon of choice. So that's how she ends up defeating witches, demons, goblins, creatures, undead, dead. It's a very entertaining, weird, twisty, and smelly story that I highly recommend to the fullest degree. What's the furthest place from here is a indie title unique unto its own. Story of a very post-apocalyptic world of kids that embrace music, culture, and each other in a very weird, thrashy, segregative world. It's I don't know. It's hard to describe. Very enjoyable. It's another post-apocalyptic style story that I definitely recommend. Carnage. There we go. I'm looking for these books. There we are. I'm a huge symbiote fan. You refer to me as a symbiote slut, wouldn't be offended at all. Now, as far as symbiotes go, Carnage is on the top of the list for me, meaning this is the most brutal, the most visceral, the most nasty, the most bloodiest, symbiote going on. Carnage is by definition to me what the original symbiote storyline was meant to be. I'm loving Carnage in its fullest degree. To me, this is so well written, so well depicted, so what Carnage needed as far as respect in the Marvel Universe as a symbiote. The fact that Ron V is writing both this and the Venom title, I'm hoping some neat little crossover happens way down the line when Carnage becomes something that is going to be another menace to be dealt with, something almost on the line of the King of Black himself. So we'll see what happens down the road. Speaking of the King of Black, Venom the Lethal Protector, not quite the King of Black yet, takes us all the way back to the 90s of how we remember and cherish, the original Venom storyline. So 3 starts it off. This 4, I think, is nearing the end, if not ending. I can't remember if it's 4 or 5 issues. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 as far as the mini is going, and I can't remember, like I said, if there's an issue 5. This takes me back to why I really fell in love with symbiote stories. This is actually depicted the way I remember the 90s stuff being depicted, and it's so enjoyable to go back to that place. So it's more talking to my heart than I think anything, than most of the books that I've been reading of late. Well, I think I'm out of order, right? You're out of order. Amazing Spider-Man, issue number 4 and issue number 5. I've been writing, I've been really reading a lot of some of the older Zeb stuff again, and realizing that not only do I have a lot of Zebwell material, but I guess he's one of those, you can almost say, flavors that I really enjoy. As far as reading, it's my type of reading. It's he really writes to a way I like to read. It's enough depth, enough mystery, vagueness, but enough conciseness, enough understanding of what's transpiring in the story that you're reading, but leaves enough mystery to go, okay, what's possible next, or what could possibly happen from some of the things that he alludes to. I really like Zeb Wells' writing. So, Amazing Spider-Man issue number 4 and 5. Looking forward to jumping into that. Over from the Happy Tank people, we got RedMan. All right, now this is from the creator group of Ultraman, and it gets back to what their original kind of depiction really wanted to be, as far as a little more brutal, a little more heavy type of character for Ultraman, and that supposedly is what their true envisionment was was more directed towards. It's not exactly what they wanted, but it's more closer to what they're looking at. RedMan! Over to this title, this Artist Create presents. This everything from Artist Creates I'm going to end up picking up. This, I believe, is going to be something heavy. This is, I'm trying to remember her name. Something Wench. Super Prince. Oh, there it is. San Wenches. I think this is going to be very enjoyable, very fun. Artist Elite has a great team of artists / turn writers. And it's just another platform for these individuals, which in the case of this is Kirkham, Booth, Garza, are just some of the individuals that contributed to this particular book. These are just different covers. 4 different stories, I think? 3 different stories. So the names of the story writers, I believe. Those people are actually, I believe, the writers too, to these 3 different stories. Is their introduction to the world that they're creating over at Artists Elite. So I can't wait to get in this. I've been talking about this for months. Jane Foster, issue number 2. I already read it, loved it. Can't say too much about it other than the fact that I'm looking forward to seeing what's happened. I can see how this is kind of that in-between stuff that was kind of happening between what we're seeing right now with Venom, or possibly me after. Though I'm really enjoying how they always reference Jane grappling with the fact that she is both mortal and God, and I really enjoy that myself, because you see the strife, you see the turmoil that she's going through, but however, it is what makes her a standalone character in this universe on the way that she's grappling with this. I enjoy that writing. I enjoy that character. I enjoy where this is leading to, because it doesn't just kind of give me that all-powerful God story. It gives me someone that's grappling with it, and I like that. Firepower! Kirkham, dude, this is awesome. You're just killing it with the story, and it just gets bigger and bigger with the size of this dragon, just ripping everything apart. And damn, dude, I can't get enough firepower. Seriously, this is the story I was looking forward to as far as action and adventure, when it came down to how I was looking for the writing to be read in The Walking Dead. This is what I was looking for. This is what I'm loving. I can't get enough. So please keep going. Speaking of Can't Get Enough, Kanto, Tales of the Unnamed World. I've already read this issue, and I no matter what David Boer writes with this character, it always just keeps pulling at my heartstrings. I think this is one of the things that really made me gravitate to this character and to David's writing in particular with this character. So my heart aches only slightly knowing that this story is going to eventually end. And this would have been a great story to go on forever. You know, the never-ending tale would have been fine by me. Wannabes! Now, I'm not certain, but I'm guessing it's a one-shot. It's a story of kids that want to be superheroes. They think they're really big in their own little world, but the reality hits them hard when they go out and see what it's like to be a superhero when you're not really anything much more than a regular person. And if you're a kid, it's even tougher. Closet, issue number 2. This is a story of a domestic situation that's getting ugly, and ugly in the sense of a child playing with childhood monsters, grappling with the fact that the parents are trying to convince the child that this is nothing more than a figment of the child's imagination. If it is or isn't, doesn't matter. There's a manifestation of this imagination going on that's just jacking this kid up. Really digging this story. Tynion can't seem to do anything wrong at this point, and I'm enjoying everything that he's reading, which is just hurting me at the bank. And just thoroughly enjoying every time I pick up anything that I read from him. So don't stop. Berserker 9. We are 3/4 of the way through this. This is the cover A. This is the cover D. It's all reflected and pretty. This is a cool story, man. More information was given out at San Diego Comic-Con on what's supposed to transpire as far as with the story and the development of the story, as far as any and all movie things were kind of clarified, both on real life and animation. And we just got to see a little bit more in depth of why Matt got together with Keanu to write this, why it is depicted the way it is, how things are moving forward with the productions. That all was not only either clarified and or alluded to a little bit more in depth too at San Diego Comic-Con. So I'm looking for a little bit more of a teaser than what they actually gave out. I would really like to say that they would give us a real, we started working on it and we have an end date of when we think it's going to be done. You know, not saying a release date of when to watch it, but just I want to see this. Little Monsters, I think there's 5, right? Yeah. Story of adolescent vampires that were told to wait for their vampire leader. They've been waiting for, seemed like, well over a century. They've never tasted human blood. So vampiric kids that have never tasted human blood that get an introduction to it, that's where we're at. And it's very interesting on how they're depicting these children, because you feel for them in a very human way, and then you realize that they are little monsters. All right, moving on. Twig, issue number 3. Now, I, A, B, and C this all the way through. I love all these covers. These are just killer covers. And the story in itself has been very, very unique. Again, much like Tynion, it seems like Scotty Young can't do any wrong right now when it comes to his writing. And as far as his art, everyone that I know is still buying it. So he's knocking them out of the park. Keep going, Scotty. Usagi Yojimbo, issue number 6 of The Lone Goat and Kid. This finishes off this miniseries. I never got to read the original story from this that was depicted in Dark Horse, I believe. So I've been picking up all these miniseries, and I'm a huge Usagi Yojimbo fan. So it's been just a pleasure to go through these miniseries in a new format as far as the comic version is concerned. It's color, it's all new all over again, even though it's old. So I'm going to keep buying those things, along with the ongoing series, issue number 29 of Isagi Yojimbo. Yeah, I'm liking the new character that they introduced in this. I'm liking their journeys together. The fact that they broadened this world just a little bit and didn't, ruin my whole world by making this character something tripe. I'm grateful. So yeah, just keep knocking it out, Stan. Grimm, issue number 3. I've been talking about Grimm well before it even came out, and since it's been out, this reflecting thing is just going to kill everybody. Sorry. That looks kind of badass. So, and I'm really digging it. Grimm has been a really cool story of a girl that's grappling with the fact that she's dead. The reason why she's grappling with that fact is she doesn't know how she died, or why she has been giving this chore of becoming Grim Reaper. She is definitely manipulating her powers to go ahead and do an investigation of her own to find out exactly what transpired that led to this situation. So Grimm, issue number 3. Yuki versus Panda. This is an animation that just needs to happen. Please, somebody do something. Throw some money at these people at Source Point and Yuki versus Panda, because this needs to happen. This is a fun story. Satire, humor, wit, just, God, it's great. They're grabbing all these stereotypical tropes and and ideas that we think of certain characters, and they play with them in such forms that I think we all could enjoy. So please, someone put some money into Yuki versus Panda. Talking about Dynamite as I was earlier with Mad Balls versus Garbage Pail, Draculina was another way for me to get into the Dynamite universe. I'm loving Draculina. This is I knew nothing of the past characters that led to this character, nor do I know anything about this universe. It's not stopping me from being able to jump into it, having some understanding once I did, and then thoroughly enjoying the character that I'm reading, along with the story in itself as I'm discovering this universe. So, Draculina, issue number 4. Can't wait to get into. Speaking of another issue number 4, Ghost Rider. I've been A and Bing this all the way through. Much like Silver Surfer, I am a huge Ghost Rider fan, and this story has been rather interesting as he's trying to figure out what the hell is growing out of his head. All we see is his eyeball keep peeking out every issue, and we don't know what's going on there. We do know he has some weird amnesia. He doesn't know what's going on with his own life. He keeps waking up after certain things transpire. I'm looking for a little more explanation, even though there's enough to hold me. And as long as that keeps going, I will keep picking it up. But there's got to be some answers coming soon. So that's Ghost Rider, issue number 4. Moon Knight, Black, White, and Blood, issue number 3. I was never a Moon Knight fan. My brother was the one that got me into Moon Knight. After watching the series on the Disney thing and now reading this, yeah, I'm a Moon Knight person. It's a very good character. Department of Truth. This story, this world is getting weirder and bigger, and just, I mean, your brain can go on forever and allow every conspiracy that you've ever thought to sit there and now think it's plausible. And that is a little scary. So great job on the writing there. Another tiny book. What If, issue number 5. All right. This finishes it out for Miles Morales. I'm looking forward to reading this due to the fact of the controversy that happened in the last issue. I'm hoping this one doesn't have it. I'm looking for a decent ending on one that's kind of cathartic. Bunny Rass, A Hollow Inside. This is a good read. This is an interesting book that is dealing with a cleansing of its own. A person that's an entity that's trying to rid this planet of just filth and ugly, and it comes from an individual that kind of filth ugly like, but very alluring. And I don't know, there's a lot of emotions in this book. There's a lot of things going on, and there's times where you're like, yeah, ew, no, wait, what? So that's what's been holding me on a Bunny Mask. Skybound issue number 25. Look at that cover. Isn't that cool? What I've been liking about the Skybound stuff is that it's just been these anthology of stories that have been, you know, they've been teasing us that they're going to go ahead and develop as full-on stories. I think, from my understanding, Scurry and I think this Battle Beast is teased as being a series that's supposed to come out pretty soon. So I believe that is the reason why I ended up picking up those covers. Stay over with that image thing. Issue number 3 of the Image anthology. These have been really, really cool. It's a 12-issue series that Image is doing, and it's been just offering some really great stories. Speaking of Image again, Philadelphia by Rodney Barnes has been just nothing short of a masterpiece as far as the writing in of classic monsters into our forefathers' history. His development of this world is just brilliant. I mean, it's very genius on how he's tying all this together, in my opinion. Being a slight historical nut myself, and loving the classic monsters is just a beautiful blend of a cake that needed to be baked, and no better chef than Rodney Barnes. So thank you very much, sir. Moving over to She Bites. Now this is a variant issue that had to be a 10 copy. Once you order 10 copies, you were then qualified for this. I ended up getting 2 covers of this. I mean, the pastel and everything. Now, this is another childhood vampiric story of a girl. I believe she has the appearance of like around 9. That is actually, I think, 134. So 134 to you and me. And she needs a familiar babysitter. So that is, I believe, the premise of what She Bites is all about. Miles Morales issue 40 and issue 39. I know that was backwards. Look at this cover. Look at that cover. Damn. Miles Morales has been a very interesting read. It's with the development ability, what's going on in this multiversal thing and stuff. It's been pretty trippy. I'm hoping it comes to something that is just as interesting as the story has been pulling us along. I'm hoping Billy actually does become a very pinnacle and a very significant character to the Marvel Universe. I like to see her become her own thing possibly down the road, so we'll see. We're going to go with SheHulk issue number 4 and issue number 5. Yeah. I've not really been enjoying it that much. I mean, there's story there. There's stuff there. There's not really anything happening. Most of it is like very casual. And there's no, yeah, SheHulk at 4 and 5. Gladiverse. So this has been pretty trippy. You know, we're seeing all this what if of like Gwen, you know, and all these different versions of a Thor and all this other stuff. It's been kind of cool. I've been enjoying this what if version of Gwen. It's I don't know. It's been very lighthearted and enjoyable at the whole time. So Monkey Prince issue number 6. This has been awesome. As far as almost anything happening in the DC universe, that Batman realm type play, this has been cool. I am looking for this to really integrate itself into the DC universe on a more broader level. I would like to see him, and now that you know that last issue is leading to a reincarnation of, there's a lot of stuff happening, and it's this one, Monkey Prince, as far as a title out of DC, gets me more excited for a DC title than I think any other DC title other than the Black Label-y stuff. So, damn, just keep knocking it out of the park, guys. We're halfway there. It's. I don't know how you're gonna outdo yourself now because it keeps building and getting better. So, Alice Ever After by Dan Panosian is just a treat. This poor girl is suffering some serious delusional, psychotic inducement from illicit drugs, and wow, just it gives a whole new meaning of Wonderland that just those of us from the late 60s and 70s, I think, can relate. But wow. Issue number 4, it's a 5-issue miniseries that is just, at this point, been nothing but a treat for the first 3 that I've read. So I'm looking forward to reading issue number 4. As I was making mention before with the crossovers, Godzilla versus Mighty Morphin Power Rangers has been nothing less than a treat. This kaiju free-for-all has been just awesome. I can't describe it any other way. This is exactly what I was hoping for. Keep doing it. Speaking of Godzilla, when IDW, decide they're going to go ahead and publish the best of, no-brainer for me. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, the Armageddon game, the opening moves, begins the story of the Rat King and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle with an ongoing miniseries to follow. You have to read this. As you can see, I just got it, so I'm looking forward to jumping on into this and seeing how this all works out. Barbaric. This is I think a 1 issue that is going to go ahead and set us up down the road for probably another little issue miniseries coming from this team. Barbaric is a great story of a cursed guy that has a axe that is forced to do the right thing. That's his curse. I'm digging it. This is a Barbaric story that I love. Blood, gore, for the right reason, whatever that reason is, even if it's wrong. That's all right by me. And finishing it off with Army of Darkness versus Reanimator, like I was talking about, man, these crossovers. The Army of Darkness, Reanimator, as I was making mention before, the whole, stories of your late 80s or mid 80s and stuff like that. Freaking beautiful. It speaks to my heart. It speaks to the 80s of me. I also received a bunch of cards. So those of you that end up receiving things from me, as far as a gift or even from Kai on, throwing things like this. Speaking of which, Air Spider, if you're still there, you're one of the individuals that had won something from Kai and I that did not contact us. I need contact from you. I end up mailing out all the gifts today. You need to verify your address. You need to give me a name and an address of someone that doesn't belong to our channel that we can ship something to. That's all we're looking for, dude. So I appreciate you. Ben, how you doing? Yeah. If I recall, I believe that's 95 books plus the cards. Yeah. It's kind of ridiculous. I agree. But I think if we all saw what we get every month, which I know you guys know that I end up getting weekly stuff too, but we'd see this mountain and go, holy shit, I get like a short box every month or more. So pretty much that's it for me. I'm going to beat 40 minutes. I'll tell you that. Never know. I might come back a little bit later. Who knows what I'll end up doing. But hey, as I made mention, that's it for me and Chippy. Appreciate you guys. You stay well.